Got me kicked out of my near every bar around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot and cut with a knife, messing around with another man's wife. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Threw my boss out the window and got fired for my last job. Hot-wired a city truck and turned it over in the mayor's yard. Beat my brother-in-law half to death, lost 20 bucks.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash, Brent, Slow News Tuesday, but we got lots to talk about this morning. Looking forward to it. Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerland Hayfeed and Ranch Services. Stop on by, get everything you need for your home, your ranch, your ranchito, your patio home,
your trailer,
your patio garden.
You know, something I noticed the other day.
Find a screwdriver there if you need it.
The asides that is, or what make the show really work is like, this is just,
I thought it was us.
Well, but it's like we have an agenda of things, but it's the asides that are actually interesting. I thought about this morning. I told you I woke up early. Like I'm talking about like in just post 4 o'clock. And Riker, the Wonder Dog, he goes out when I wake up like that. So I let him go outside. And he came back in, he jumps up on the bed, and he's such a creature of habit. He sleeps, he has a dog bed that he sleeps on. But when I'm awake, he gets up and wants to play. And he does that stretch where his butt's up in the air.
I wish I could stretch
like
that. God, that would feel so good.
He does yoga. He does doodle yoga. But I was cognizant that he has zero grass burrs.
Careful.
Grass burrs.
I thought you were going to go Aussie man on me.
And he to give. But he doesn't have any grass burrs, and it's 100%. The only difference in my yard, I've done the 21-7-14 for 4 or 5 years now. It's that Balin is the only difference. Is I put it down in February, and I waited. It was, I don't remember. Jackie will tell you, it was either 45 or 90 days. And I think it's 45. And I put it down again, and there are zero grass burrs in my backyard because you know what he's like. He's Velcro.
Yeah, he is.
If he runs through the yard, they jump onto him.
I've seen the pollen stuck to him.
Yeah.
Stuff. But the other thing is, though, your grass is so nice and thick. That's probably choking that stuff
That's a big chunk of it. But the backyard was always
a little thinner and
grass burr city. Anyway, the weather, folks, brought to you by the great folks at Deerland Feed. It is 78 degrees in Victoria under partly cloudy skies, heading to a high of 90. So it's going to be, it'll be warm
like
and
yesterday.
Kind of muggy today. It was a little bit humid when I came in.
Yeah. Buddy Stefano, first one in, Stephanie Connie, Patrick Strauss. Good morning.
Hello,
There's
Patrick
podium
Strauss.
winners this morning. Good to see you, P. Strauss. Ricky King, Torrin Bales, Scott Tomko, Judge Posey, Mark Kurtz. Console 12. Who's Console 12? I think we were told that one time, and I don't know who that is.
I don't remember.
Greg Garcia.
I'm Monty Howard.
Good morning, Monty. Wendy Hughes Garcia, BJ Nelson, Lisa Poole, Linda Chris, Marvin Mickish. Junior's back. We're no longer being big in the Neosho, but our listenership is doubling in Vancouver.
See, it'll be a good show because we got Jared McCrugan in, Junior, P. Strauss, Monty. These are folks that constantly, consistently have good comments, good things. They drive the program.
Bobby Leister.
I like seeing all the little
Keeling,
red arrows, the YouTube folks checking in. I'd love feedback on, is it any different? Is it?
The only thing I've noticed, the comments, the YouTube comments disappear once the show's over. And I don't know how, Commander and I haven't figured out how to get those to
Are
come
they
back.
available to you on YouTube?
Not once the show's over. They
now,
are
even if
live,
you're on YouTube.
even on YouTube, but you don't see them. All you see are the Facebook comments on Facebook. Like on, when our show's over on Facebook, the comments stay there.
It's almost as if Facebook is protecting their product.
So I don't know. Well, it's two different feeds. There's got to be a setting in YouTube that we haven't discovered yet to make sure that the comments stay there after. That's
Junior
all.
Simple says Balin is expensive, but you have a ranch.
40 acres,
Yeah.
Junior. You're not. dropping that stuff everywhere.
No, you can't. But around the house, you could.
Yeah.
And that way, when
Good
Linda
morning.
goes outside, she doesn't get sticker burrs in her feet.
Junior says he's the cornerstone of the show. I was thinking more. He's more like the outhouse of the
I
show.
don't know exactly what Junior. Whatever makes you happy,
Justin
Junior.
Glass, good morning. Where to start? Because this is disturbing, and let's just jump into the First State Bank Astros update because the Astros were off yesterday. They played today.
So we talked about Lance McCullers a couple starts ago. I was going to say weeks ago. That's not accurate. Maybe 2 weeks ago. That he had a really bad start. He got shelled, got one out.
Play the hapless Pirates in Pittsburgh.
He
tonight.
gave up like, I don't know,
runs.
9, and they were like all earned, and it was a terrible, terrible deal. And the dude started getting he got some death threats. I mean, that apparently were deemed credible enough that he went to the FBI.
Yeah. Overseas bettors behind the death threats on Lance McCullers, according to the Houston Police Department, they have identified a person, but won't publicly reveal who it is or his location. No charges have been filed. This is the danger.
In other news, Jim Crane, majority owner of the Astros, on the run. Can you imagine if the owner
Mattress Mac hasn't been
Mattress
seen
Mac.
since the day before that game?
if McCullers wins, you win. Yeah,
But you know what's scary is we're hearing more and more of these things as online betting has become more prominent and allowed in most states in this country. It happened during March Madness. Accusations of game fixing. Yeah, we're going to get to that, Pistros. But this is the danger of the online gambling that is now permeating the United States and Canada.
And you could have the same thing if you decide to have on-site gambling here in the state.
Well, they used to. Remember, the horse races were always fixed. And I mean, they've had problems with soccer matches in England being fixed over time and all that stuff. So, yeah. So anyway, overseas better. And you, if you're in Europe and you're betting on American baseball, you've got a gambling problem.
No, that's exactly right. Pete Strauss points out that the Astros bullpen has given up 23 runs in the 2 losses to the Rays.
Split that 4-game series.
2 comments on that. One is historically and typically, Brian Abreu has little blips where he's weak, but in general, Brian Abreu's been very, very solid.
And he pitched really well on Monday.
And Hader
Sunday,
is nails. I think Hader was the best investment the Astros have made in several years. But you're going to see guys like Okert and Gusto and Forrest Whitley.
Whitley's been terrible.
Some of these guys are going to get rocked. And it's just, with that said, Astros lead the AL West. So you just have to kind of go with it. And I'm not suggesting that Patrick Strauss isn't going with it. I'm just saying I'm not too worried about the bully. We've had those concerns in the past that were legit.
Ort gave up 5 in a third of an inning, and
when
Whitley
you get
gave
beat
up
16-3,
5 in 2 innings. But it wasn't that bad a game to that point, though. It was 5-3 going into the top of the 7th.
Yeah, he gave up a 3-run bomb too, didn't he?
And then they gave up 11 runs in the last 3 innings. Oh, man. But anyway.
Wasn't ideal.
No, they start a series with the Pirates
That's
tonight.
when you rest Hader. You let Hader take the day off, Lefty.
Yeah. So Pirates 22-38, not doing well. Hopefully the Astros can take it to them. They're still a half game back of Seattle because Seattle won, I think, last night. Anyway, they've won 2 in a row. Astros have won 1. And so the Pirates.
They're roughly even.
Yeah. Pirates have been struggling.
Is that who we play?
Yeah, we started in Pittsburgh. So there we go.
Willie Stargell's getting old. Drabick's tired.
Dave Parker's moved on.
Yeah.
Kent DeCalvey just doesn't close games like he
Did
used
Parker
to.
leave the Pirates to go play somewhere?
Cincinnati, I think.
That's right. And hit a bunch of bombs there,
Yeah.
didn't he?
Yeah. And he might have finished up somewhere else after that too. Hockey half minute for Scott Tomko. I know he's dejected the Stars are gone, but the Stanley Cup Game 1 playoffs begin tomorrow.
You know, something I'd forgotten, and many of you here will remember our friend Ron Gant, who Gant played Victoria High and was a star, and then went in the Atlanta Braves organization, and he was one of the premier outfielders. He was a 30-30 guy multiple times, and he doing
almost 300 home runs, I think.
Yeah,
right?
doing dumb stuff that kids do. He broke his leg badly in a motorcycle, like a dirt bike accident, and just dumb in the off season.
Like when what was the guy's name that was a pretty good golfer and he decided to go snowboarding?
Phil Mickelson broke his leg snow skiing, or snowboarding. It was just like when if you're a heart surgeon, like you would say, well, don't be an idiot. If you were a heart surgeon, you probably wouldn't do bare knuckle boxing. I mean, why risk your hands? Well, when you're an athlete, you don't risk your legs. But I had forgotten just how good and serviceable Ron Gant was when he ended up in St. Louis. He was the protection for Mark McGwire.
Yeah.
And he hit a lot of, he was really, really good. Frank Mejia says he's ready to come in. 7th inning is good for him.
Well, of course it was, because Frank played 5-inning games back then.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's my age.
Good morning, Frank. Well, Vincent checking in. We're not going to talk about this. We're not going to say this guy's name, but now federal hate crime charges along with a bunch of state charges in that Colorado terror attack, where this illegal Egyptian
a shirtless man. Now, it is worth pointing out, and this is worth pointing out, the guy's visa expired in March. So before we jump on
March of 23.
Oh, you know what? I saw a credible report yesterday that said it just expired in March. Why didn't Trump deport him? Where do you stand on? I get if you're illegal, you're illegal. I've got no problem with that. If I have a reason to detain you, let's say that you're a construction worker and you stop off at the bar on the way home and you get pulled over for DWI and you're actually an illegal Venezuelan, I've got no problem deporting you. But what do you make about ICE making a raid on a construction site in Florida and taking a bunch of employed guys and deporting them? I get the feeling.
Don't employ them.
Well, okay. All right. But I get the feeling that ICE has been charged with, you need to turn some numbers. I need numbers. I want body count.
Here's the problem. There's so many illegals in this country. It's pure optics at this point, right? There aren't enough ICE agents to round up the 13 to 23 million illegals living in this country, depending on who's telling the story, or 10 to 23, whatever that number is.
Right.
So, they can't do it.
And Linda Chris, she says, I have to wonder just how many more did Biden let in. It was an open border policy. And that's one of the things we talk about the left. You've got AOC, you've got Jasmine Crockett, you've got Pete Buttigieg. Look, if you really, Democrats, if you really want to run a gay dude and his gay husband for president, just knock yourself out and then say, well, if you don't vote for Pete, you're homophobic.
Well,
okay. But at the end of the day, the Democrats are a rudderless ship because they hate America. That's the problem.
Well, and this is part of the problem. In Console 12, I don't remember who that is.
Tell us who you are. You don't have to.
Took a U.S. citizen, had his real ID, and they said it was fake. And that's
not ideal. That'll get sorted out.
Yeah. But did you have probable cause to arrest a U.S. citizen?
Well, what you're doing at that point is you're profiling. It's no different than internment for Japanese Americans, and some of whom which was bad. Some of their children were serving in the United States military, but they were still being locked up. It's a fear deal. And in this case, this is not fear. This is like enforcement. So very interesting.
But I mean, why wouldn't they take his ID or accept it as legit?
I don't know if
Get
it
you on a
is.
plane.
Yeah.
But who is it here up here? And then this is where I am. Ricky King, I completely agree. They're here illegally. That means they broke our laws. So
I don't disagree, Ricky. I mean, but it's a hard line stance, right? I saw one today, and there's always the exceptions that make you emotional about the rule. There was a kid that was a senior in high school, and he was arrested on the way to volleyball practice. He'd been there since he was 5. Okay.
He's a product of the circumstance of the choices one of his parents made or the cartel made for his parents.
Right.
But you and I have talked about this. I think there's a way to provide maybe a path for them that would allow them to stay here. I don't agree. But I don't believe in blanket amnesty.
No, I don't.
And I don't believe
either.
I don't believe anybody
Should be merit-based.
who's ever been charged with being in this country illegally, whether they're let in later or they're a product of their mom walking across or swimming across the Rio Grande and dropping a kid on this side of the border so they can have
birthright
a kid.
citizenship should be over with. No doubt about it.
But if the bleeding hearts in Congress want to make an exception for these kids, then never will they be eligible for citizenship.
Yeah. Just let them
give them
have
a green card. They
and-
can live here. They can pay their taxes.
That's right.
But anybody who's ever come in here illegally should never be given a path to citizenship. It should be completely off the table.
100%. 100%.
If they're really here to make a better life, then they should be happy with permanent resident status to work and pay their taxes and be a contributing member of society.
Right.
If that's really what it's about. I could have worked when I was here on a visa that didn't allow me to work. I didn't because I respected the laws of this country. That's the other problem I've got. There's no respect for those laws. And when you look away from a law, well, it's just
you see all the time.
It's just an immigration law. It's victimless. Nobody gets hurt. But but it's a slippery slope because then all of a sudden you start, wow, it's just this law. It's just this law. Next thing.
The idea about the left hating America is not an observation based on folks having a different opinion. An opinion is one thing, but when you are DEI driven, when you are pro open border, when you poll kids 19 to 25 who align themselves as Democrats and you ask them, are you proud to be an American? And they overwhelmingly say no. I'm ashamed to be an American.
I caught a snippet of a news story today, and I will look for it for tomorrow. But basically what they were saying was there's a new study out that shows that the mentally ill in this country are predominantly Democrat.
Because the left aligns with mental illness. The LGBTQ community, those people are screwed up. Don't get away from it.
Andrew Alvarez says they should also can't vote and should not count toward the representative population count. Yeah, I agree on the not voting, but if you're here with a green card, you're now a legal resident, then you probably should count towards that.
Yeah,
because you're here legally at this point. But
there's really no getting around the fact that the Democrat Party is the catch-all for all of those with mental ishes. There's just, there's no getting around it. The furries, they vote Democrat. It's the way it is. It's not that's not even a negative necessarily.
And let's be honest. Talk about, and we make jokes about the furries. The fact that our legislature wasted time on this, this session was just dumb.
Yeah.
There's not enough of them to foster that sort of attention.
Yeah. Men who want to swim in women's sports, they don't vote Republican. They just don't.
King says, Ash, when people say nobody gets hurt, a lot of jobs. No, I agree completely. I'm not saying they don't get hurt. I'm saying people always say, well, these are victimless crimes. No, they're not. They're really not. But it starts a slippery slope towards looking past crimes that actually matter.
No doubt about it.
So, Tammy, who is hiring off the books? I don't know who is, but they need to be prosecuted as well. They need to be held accountable.
I have
no problem with it.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that either. No, I'm not all for that.
Never have.
Tech versus Texas in World Series championship. There you go. I guess that's softball.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the yellow ball up there.
There you go. Congrats, Pete. Pete's a big Texas Tech guy.
Yep.
I think
Texas won't have a national. Well, they might have a national champion in baseball the way GSA rolled over the
I hope
Longhorns.
they do. I hope they do. I think
keep up, Tammy. I said I'm going to work on it and get it to the show here. I don't have it today.
Texas will probably be favored, but it's good to see Texas Tech really taking advantage of their opportunities in the Big 12. I think that they by far won the most conference championships. They did good.
Absolutely. Should we take our first break?
Sure. Go.
Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. We'll figure out where we're going to meet. We'll figure it out. Won't be next week.
No, it needs to happen soon, though, and at least get the date out there so Junior and Lisa Poole can plan their month. Need to make sure that's done.
It all circles around that, which is fine. Yep. I'm okay with that.
I love it. Went services for all your generator needs. Went services for your general home electrical needs. You want to add on a shop and you need someone to come out, and I think I'm going to go LED in that shop. They can do that. Different ballasts, different lighting. Let them come out and help you. It's like $220, $230, whatever you need. They'll hook you up.
Chop and block. $7 baseball sirloins.
Those are really good, by the way. Good. They're $7, and they're just the right size to throw on the grill. And you get spoiled. You eat a lot of ribeyes. You eat a lot of when I was a kid, ribeye was something you ate on a holiday. But sirloin has such a great hearty beef flavor, and the chopping block does a great job with that.
Yeah. No, and they've got $10.99 a pound picanha roast. Those are really good on a grill. Oh.
No doubt about
it. $15.99 a pound ribeyes. And if you want some pan sausage for this weekend, $4.99 pound sausage and chorizo. So get to the chopping block today and stock up for the week and the weekend.
Ads and Offer and adsandoffer.com. If it's way too hot to go walk the lot, go to adsandoffer.com. Check it out. Ads and Offer, your home for a new Chevy. If the flags are flying, folks are buying.
Selling cars like candy bars.
Just
I didn't notice our Wade and Carter Corvette.
It's probably been sold.
It was.
Right down the street from higher prices on the Navarro Motor Mile. Tammy points out, the point is it's not just illegal immigrants that don't respect the law. It's those that employ them and those who benefit from cheap labor. So see, if you buy something from somebody who employs, so now you're part of the problem too. If the guy comes out and lays down the concrete and he has illegals, the point of the matter is, I guess the best response is, so you got to start somewhere. The thing to do is round them up. And I don't have a problem with you losing your ag exemption if you employ illegal labor.
Here's the other problem.
If you want to get rid of illegal labor, you must put some teeth into the laws that already are there, that already prohibit such.
And how much the employers verify who you are, at least the ones I've worked for.
Yeah, me too. Andrew Alvarez says, be a star, buy a car.
There's another one to add to our repertoire.
I like do a great job.
There we go. I think we're back.
There you go.
Yep.
Lisa Poole pointing out the obvious.
Yep.
Hello.
Something
technical
happened. I'm
difficulties.
not sure what, but I think we're back now.
I don't
There we
know.
are. Yep, we're back. Good. Yeah. Sorry for the glitch, folks. I don't know what happened, but apparently computer just shut down. It was not a Facebook or a YouTube issue. Our computer just went blank.
I don't know where you go with the idea of America trying to compete globally with high dollar when we have high dollar labor. I don't know what you do.
I don't know what we can, to be honest.
Right. Yeah. I don't understand.
I don't either. I can't quite figure that out.
We've been advised. I'll give you, Tammy, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to share with you again. Tammy Keeling is a longtime listener and a very bright woman.
I don't know who she's talking to here.
Well, I don't know, somebody, but she reserves the right. An intelligent, educated woman reserves the right. Why are you shocked? The daily goat is anyone who doesn't agree. I don't care if you agree with me. I challenge you to refute me. That's my challenge. Anytime you want to call 894-4020, you can make me the bad guy, because if I'm ever rude to you, then it makes national news. So feel free to call anytime you want to share a viewpoint. But when you say, I just don't agree, what do you not agree with? I mean, I just agreed with you that I don't believe that you should have ag exemption if you employ illegals. I don't believe that you should, I agree that you can't maybe compete with other countries with.
But how do you want to hold employers accountable for hiring illegals, but you want them to stream across our border? It makes no sense. No, that's sure. I would think that, I don't know. Is Tammy's in the game to allow them to have, we'll go ahead and give them citizenship? I don't know where she stands on the illegal immigration, and I'm not going to put I'm not going to put words in her mouth, but I completely agree with that. Work on it from both ends. Go after the employers, go after and get the illegals out of here.
But I want them out of here. And then America will gravitate to what needs to happen.
And if employers say they've done their due diligence and looked at IDs and looked at social security cards and ran them through the E-Verify and they passed, then where does their...
And Junior Samples is correct. There's a difference between disagreement and flat ass wrong. And Tammy's just wrong a lot. And Tammy, just so you know, I mean, I'm being fair with you, 90% of our listeners agree that you're wrong. A lot.
That's okay.
That's okay to be wrong. It's just, and I respect, we give you airtime at times, and we've been advised not to by numerous people. Quit reading her stuff. She pirates your program. You really don't. We just use you as the straw man, like the idiot sitting on the edge of the stage. And every now and then we just point at the idiot. Some days that's you.
Margaret Brennan was that idiot on Face the Nation on Sunday. I don't know if you saw these are starting to make the way. Scott Bessent, our Treasury Secretary, was on there and just basically told her to stop with the inflation rhetoric.
Oh, inflation's way down.
2.1%, I think, was the last numbers. And that's a little bit above where it was during Trump's first term. But I went to look to see what our inflation numbers were, and I'm in the United States, and I got onto Google, and our internet is local. Swiss inflation turns negative. Euro inflation rate eases. European stocks turn slightly lower. Euro area inflation in focus. Swiss inflation turns negative. Spain's inflation, surprise. It's not until you get down 7 stories that they talk about the U.S. inflation rate in April.
And it's actually on CNBC.
Then they go a little bit lower. Then the Guardian out of England has it.
Yeah. U.S. inflation rate slows amid Trump tariffs. Did you see the other day where it wasn't...
they're trying to hide U.S. good inflation news.
It was pointed out that 65%, I cannot quote the source, but it was on a television show where the the point of the program was this is a guy who, if anything, is going to exaggerate the other way. This would be like Joe Biden saying, oh, by the way, the difference is 65% of the tariffs will be absorbed by Chinese manufacturers. So there you go.
I don't see how. My understanding of tariffs, they're paid when the goods are shipped and imported, not. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
So in fairness, to wrap this up, in the same breath that somebody said 99.9% of our audience doesn't agree with Tammy, Tammy did point out the difference is I'm not saying you hate America because of your opinions. Cheers. But when your opinion is just wrong. And when you look at it, by the way, as far as I know, you're not LBGTQ either, or in theory, you're not mentally handicapped. And I'm saying that in general, the left is the party of the mentally deficient. I'm not saying that it's those two circles, the concentric circles. If you're in the middle there, you can be on the left without being crazy. But if you're crazy, you're probably in there somewhere. And that's where the left dwells. And that's a huge part of their voting base.
I don't say people hate America because of their opinion. I say people hate America because of their actions.
Amen. 100%.
Bernie Sanders hates America and what it stands for.
Absolutely
He's a
hates
socialist
America.
and a communist.
Hates America. Hates America. Bernie Sanders does.
He'll gaslight you and tell you he loves America because America gives him the ability to steal from a community college while his wife runs it into the ground, and they get a lake home that's worth $1 million or whatever the price was.
He is
that he
an
couldn't have afforded.
oligarch who preaches against oligarchy. Complete hypocrite who hates the United States of America. No doubt about it. Nothing American about that guy.
When your actions, anyway, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that's good enough.
Because what else is happening? Let's see what's going on. I was just going through blah 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 blah. Oh, none of my windows are.
Well, while you do that, find something, will you?
I'm
working. How about I tell you about Veracruz Restaurant on a Tuesday? The Tuesday before Caldo Wednesday is a great time to get into Veracruz. Get in and have the best guacamole, the best queso, the best salsa, fresh chips that they make themselves. Get in to Veracruz today. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Let Allen get you from here to there. If you need to be towed, if you need a jump, if you, God forbid, have a fender bender and you need help, Allen's will respond quickly and professionally. They do it for all the big rigs. Let them do it for you. White Trash Services and White Trash Site Services. BJ and Scott Nelson have crafted a niche business that has grown tenfold since they took it over. Multiple counties all over. If you're in the country and within earshot of us, reach out to 550-1826 and let them help you with your trash. Chesnick Furniture, Chesnick and Love, make your house a home. Reach out to Bobby Leon and see why you just always do better at Chesnick. Great family business in this region for over 100 years. Paravita Wellness, get in and get healthy. You can get a good, healthy meal with your macros the way you want them, protein, carbs, gluten-free, and eat it on your new best recliner.
While you're watching the Stanley Cup playoffs tomorrow.
Absolutely. And then the Dollar Floor Store. Go by and see them. Super nice people. Yep. All your flooring needs.
Tamara,
vinyl, waterproof, laminate, hardwood, tile, carpet,
luxury
pad.
vinyl.
They remember when you were a kid, it was like, they're going to put in double pad. Whoa, they've got money.
And underneath the shag.
You ever wonder why they didn't just make a thicker pad? It was always double pad.
Because there's money in double pads.
Right.
It's not money in yeah.
When is Harvey Weinstein going to just pass?
I don't know.
Harvey Weinstein won't testify at his retrial on rape and sexual assault charges. Closing arguments begin today.
Novak Djokovic reaching the French Open quarterfinals, record-breaking 19th time. I think he might win this thing. It's pretty good. Let's see what else is happening. Tell me these two things aren't related.
Okay.
Over the weekend, awesome pictures and video of Kilauea erupting in Hawaii.
Right.
Lava spewing. I mean, it makes for great video. It's just
Everywhere.
awesome to see that stuff.
Well,
I
it's
mean,
the power of nature,
yeah.
and it's just overwhelming.
Absolutely, it is. Then was it yesterday or on the weekend? The same thing sort of happened in Italy. Mount Etna blew. This thing was more like Mount St. Helens, ash and gas and everything blowing up. But
Right.
how come the scientists will probably blame this on climate change somehow, even though I'm not sure how you do that when everything comes from inside the earth, right? But why do they never worry about the effects of these things on the climate? It's always man-made climate change.
Yeah, no, oh yeah, no. If it's natural climate change, then that is not something to worry about. But if it's man-made climate change, then that is the devil. I mean, and it's just the arrogance of man thinking it's just the arrogance of man thinking he's really, really gonna change, gonna change the climate.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna happen.
Junior Samples getting pad specific here.
Right.
They have a 7/16 pad and a standard pad.
3/8.
Why don't they have a 8/16 half-inch pad?
Because that extra 16th. That's
Jared
like turning
McCregan?
into 11. Oh, that's a solid point.
Brilliant point.
You can't
know what?
tax a volcano. There you have it. I'm surprised that
That's
the
more-
global community didn't get together and tax somehow Italy over Mount Etna.
What they should tax are all the idiots standing there watching it blow.
Right. But
Some
when you
videos.
see it, it happens in rapid fire, and
Yeah.
it's just amazing to you see all that stuff come out. It's not like smoke rising from a fire, right? It comes out under intense pressure.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool.
It's crazy. Yeah, and Linda Christ had a great point, because I'm going to tell you that folks that decide that they are minor attracted people, folks that groom young boys, pedophiles in Hollywood, they all
In our
vote,
schools?
they all vote Democrat. They just do. Prove me wrong. Harvey Weinstein, Democrat. Tom Hanks, lots of rumors, Democrat.
I'm not going there with Tom Hanks.
I like Tom Hanks.
I don't think it's true.
You don't think it's true?
No.
I said lots of rumors. I didn't say lots
Here's
of videos.
here's the slippery slope, right?
Democrat.
We used to call those people pedophiles. Now they want to be known as minor attracted persons.
Yeah,
They're
'cause
trying to
it's
weaken it
perfectly
and
natural.
soften it. Yeah. You know what? That might have been the case when people lived to be 30 and middle age was 15 and they liked a 12-year-old.
Right.
Right?
That's one thing.
That's one thing. When you're 40 and you like a 12-year-old, that's a problem. That's a huge problem.
What if
If you got some serious issues and you've just screwed up that 12-year-old for the rest of their freaking life.
What if you're 60 and you're married to a 40-year-old?
Wow. She's either a consenting adult or
To a degree. At
dealing
times.
with Stockholm syndrome.
Right.
Not sure. Either way, she's probably got mental problems too.
She has issues, but she votes Republican.
Ah,
The fun never stops.
it never stops here, does it?
Self-deprecating humor is the best humor and usually the most honest. Undergraduate student discovers fungus that produces compounds with effects similar to synthetic LSD.
Do we need to see what this is?
I think we do, but it just makes me wonder, is he like,
Well, West Virginia, that makes sense. They're just looking for the next meth.
I'm
and the
thinking
next,
like toe fungus
Yeah.
or something like. Looks like a wholesome kid.
a new species of fungus, Corinne Hazel. She's an environmental microbiology major from Ohio.
At West Virginia University.
She has found a long sought after fungus that produces effects similar to LSD, which is a semi-synthetic drug,
Right.
is used to treat depression, PTSD, addiction, things like that.
I'm still fascinated with it. I always want to encourage.
She's a
things
Goldwater scholar. Does that mean she actually was doing this research on a private grant and not a government grant? Imagine
be.
that.
Go find a book called Chaos. It's very interesting to me. Go go back to the timeline when the Tate LaBianca murders happened and Charles Manson's group was involved. And there was lots of dope and lots of money. And now there's lots of links. You know, we talk about USAID and how it was a covert operation. There's a lot of connections between, and there was a certain protected status for Charles Manson. He was very well known in the intelligence community. Very odd. I know it's weird and baffling, but if you go back, there's some logic that there was LSD involved and that the government was involved with Charles Manson to a degree. Now, what makes that interesting to me is that's around 1968, in that era when Sirhan killed Bobby Kennedy and claimed that he had no idea that he did that. It was almost like a Manchurian Candidate type of moment. And Sirhan said emphatically, I did what? I had no idea I did that. And there are folks who believe, and I'm tending to lean towards the plausibility, that Sirhan was a plant by probably some government organization, whether ours or another, to kill Bobby Kennedy and not know who his handlers were. And it's just it's the timing. If you read the book Chaos, which has nothing to do with Bobby Kennedy's death, but then you just start connecting the dots and you're like, if we could get this guy on LSD and essentially lead him down a path where he doesn't even know what he's doing, and he's nobody, right? He's Sirhan, who worked in the kitchen. Then when the timing is right, he can pull the trigger and nobody knows. Very interesting. I mean, to me, it's interesting. Very interesting stuff. What is your girl? You had Jasmine Crockett. She's so sharp, such a leader, such a positive voice for America with her fake ghetto accent.
She says Democrats will subpoena Elon Musk if
they
take the House. What here? And you know, this is where, if this happens, it'll all be gaslighting, because you know the Democrats will not ask him about any of the fraud and wasteful spending that he and his Doge team has found.
That's right.
It'll all be about how Starlink got $38 billion in government grants or whatever. You know what?
He applied for them and he got them. And if you don't like it, go start your own rocket company.
And I'm not convinced that probably some of this money was under the Obama administration for getting internet access to rural America. I heard last week I was listening to a program, and Elon Musk and his space program can send up rockets at anywhere from a third to half the cost that it used to cost NASA.
It's interesting. How can that be?
Because
he doesn't have to go with the low bidder. He can go with the guy that gets it done.
Well, but he is the low bidder. He's doing it for half to a third of the cost of NASA. NASA used to cost 2/3 to twice as much.
Yeah.
3 times to twice as much, 2 times to 3 times as much. Crazy, man.
For whatever it's worth, and I don't know anything about this, but Jarrett, like I said, is a good source. Very smart gentleman. So I saw a documentary. There were more bullet holes than Sirhan had bullets. And the fatal shot was from behind the back, and Sirhan was always in front of RFK. And absolutely, I do know that to be true because I've seen the video. And, but, you know, I try not to be so much of a conspiracy guy as I am just observant. And that's what happens in this program, is over time, when you just even so casually watch what's really going on, it all unfolds, which is how we've been right about some things that are pretty intense.
P. Strauss says the obvious NASA's funded by the government.
Amen.
And that's because the government will pay $800 for a hammer or a screwdriver. Elon Musk, if he needs a screwdriver, he's running to Harbor Freight and getting the one for $1.99 that'll turn that screw just as efficiently.
Yep.
And get it done. That's the difference. That's why he can do it for half. And apparently he's got the costs in such a way that when and if he needs to put men on the moon, it's even less costly than that.
I don't know why we need to put men on the moon. You can't really build a pipeline from there. Will Franklin, chief deputy, says, hey, the fatal shot was from a security guard. It just makes you wonder, right? And the fact that this stuff doesn't really get reported makes you wonder who's covering it up. I'll tell you what you're going to do. You're going to take about 45 seconds. I'm going to run down the hall because I'll tell you about my prostate when I come back.
I got more to talk about. Well, that's true. Epic Times reporting that the government has been blocked from terminating immigration documents of some 5,000 Venezuelans. Supreme Court earlier had allowed the government to end that policy that was allowing 350,000 Venezuelans to live here. That means they can remain in the country until October of 2026. This was temporary protected status that was designated to Venezuelans in 2023 who had fled the evil regime of the Venezuelan government. This is where I think this is just politics, just for the sake of. I do believe that these policies have allowed Venezuelan gang members to get here because we didn't do a very good job vetting them under the Biden administration. But knowing what I know about the Venezuelan government, Maduro, and whatever the idiot before him was, they are persecuting people because they don't believe in socialism or the Venezuelan government. That's the difference. But let's vet these folks. And if they're gang members, criminals, they need to go. I don't have a problem with letting those in who actually fear for persecution. That's the whole point of amnesty. No, there was no vetting under Biden. So we'll see what this, it's 5,000. It's a drop in the bucket when there's 10 to 23 million illegals here. Speaking of drops in the bucket, now the CDC is saying we got to get vaccine against the measles, especially if you're traveling, because there's been several cases of people bringing measles into this country.
Didn't we all get that when we were kids? I think we did here in the U.S.
Measles, mumps, rubella.
Yeah, but now does it take forever, or is it something I need to go get a booster?
I don't know. I think they said you need to get a booster. They're advising travelers to get it because people are bringing it back from wherever they were. Nobody wants to make the correlation and connection, and I'm sure it's there. Government could probably fund this study if they wanted to. I don't know if you have to, because all you have to do is really look at the wave of illegals that have come across our southern border and other borders.
TB and all that's coming in.
But all of a sudden, we're seeing, diseases reappear that we had pretty much eradicated. TB is still somewhat in the area, and we always tested for it. If you actually are trying to get here on a visa, here's the funny thing, folks. Try to come here legally. You're tested for every single communicable disease known to man. AIDS, TB, all this stuff.
Herpes simplex 10.
You came across the southern border illegally, nothing. Even if they caught you, nothing.
That's right.
But I did the math. There's about 1,088 confirmed cases of measles in this country right now. Oh, it's the worst year since 2019, which means we've had worse years. 2019 was a worse year.
Right. 6 years ago.
But we didn't cry about it then.
I think they're trying, the folks that are so excited about it are twofold. They're very upset about RFK and his Make America Healthy Again campaign. And they're very upset that people have now poo-pooed completely and undermined the logic of getting the jab for COVID.
Yeah.
I've got no problem. A measles vaccine has been vetted. It's been shown. As far as I know, it's healthy. Was it measles they were concerned had mercury in it? I don't know. But at any rate, we all got it as kids and we're all normal. We're normal.
I think 4 people in Denver have been confirmed after somebody from another country came here. Can't remember. I think Turkey, and infected people in the airport. One of them was vaccinated against measles and still caught it. I'm not saying that that's, it could just be a statistical anomaly.
The difference with the COVID vaccine is it didn't work. and then
they tried to go, wow, but it's lessened your symptoms.
Is that not the weakest logic ever? How do you know it lessened my symptoms? I mean,
they don't.
You don't know that. You can't prove that. It's like if I ask you, how bad does your foot hurt? And you go, it's a 6 on a scale of 1 to 10. And I tell you that mine's a 7. Does mine really hurt more, or do I perceive that it hurts more?
You're just a sissy.
I'll be honest. I had COVID twice. I didn't have time to have COVID. I was busy. So I drank lots of water. I stayed in bed a couple of days because I was really tired.
Yeah.
But other than that, I just pressed on because it was no different than having the flu. In fact, it was the flu.
In fact, it was better than the flu because
right.
I didn't have stuff coming out of me at both ends.
That's exactly right.
I was tired for about 16 of 23 hours. I remember the first time I got it, and I had no taste for 4 months to the day.
Yeah. And I don't sometimes smell certain things that I used to smell.
November 18th to March 18th. It was like a switch turned off. And at this point, I was not vaccinated. It was weird. And then I did get the double Pfizer jab one time. I'll never do it again.
I got both Modernas selfishly because I wanted to travel. Yeah. And I had to have it to go.
And I thought the Pfizer would have been better because it's non-mRNA. And now they're saying the Pfizer may have been worse for you. So
I don't know. Monty Howard says aspirin can lessen your symptoms. That's right.
But what's interesting, if you look at the measles cases, that 1,088 cases, that amounts to 0.00032968975463321% of the population of the United States. Most of them in a small town in West Texas that don't really leave the town.
It's certainly not an epidemic. Epidemic.
And probably not going to become an epidemic.
Bales
fear-mongering over 0.0003229% of the population that has measles.
I think they're getting you geared up for the fact that it could spread very rapidly and that it could be fatal in kids. Torrin Bales, 2 things I'm proud of. He says, I haven't ever done. I didn't get vaxxed and I've never worn Crocs.
I can only claim one of those, Torrin.
I've never worn Crocs. I think that I would have to Jared McCregan says 3rd and 4th jabs have increasing negative efficacy. They also said there was a doctor that was on the other day, Dr. Owner, who claimed that folks who got jabs were more likely to actually get COVID. Yeah. That's exactly right.
The only treatment that lessened the COVID was the monoclonal injections, the antibodies. Yep. And what's interesting is it didn't work for everybody either.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So Junior says Crocs are awesome. It's time to rethink that.
I just can't do it.
Torrin, I have a feeling that Junior's endorsement from a fashion standpoint probably just internationally destroyed Croc sales. Academy right now is going 50% off. Yeah, 50% off on all Croc wear.
You know what we should do? We should get those little things that you push into your Crocs.
And with Junior's face on it, a Wade and Carter.
Yeah. That's where I'd go.
Should we get a pin like Brother Gary, like our own pin?
I don't think we should do that. We got window stickers though. We want to talk about this weekend?
We sure should. Pat Matula and the Texas Playboys.
Lone Star Playboys. Get it right, man.
Well, Pat Matula is the key thing. You can call the band what you want. George Strait and the King of Hearts band.
Thank you.
Ace in the Hole band. Come on, I'm sorry. I didn't know. This weekend.
Concert for the Record. Remember Pat was in about a month ago talking about this. He's trying to raise money so he can record a record.
Yep.
Imagine that. So this Saturday at Inez Community Center.
It'll be fun, folks. What is it?
Or is it the
$50 a
Inez? Is it
ticket?
the Inez Community Center? I'm not sure it is.
I think it is.
3343 Old Highway Road in Inez.
Yeah.
Oh, is that it? Steak dinner and adult beverages included in $100 per ticket. And there's also BYOB. I know Pat's probably listening. Maybe he can come by this week and
I don't know if
play a
that's
song or two. That's a heck of a deal.
I don't know if
folks.
that's the community center or not.
I don't either. I'm gonna have to look.
Did you Google that up?
I
I'll
will
give you the
Google it
deal.
up, and you keep talking.
Anybody
about
know off the top of your head? 3343 Old Highway Road. 3343 Old Highway Road. I don't know exactly where that is. You would think that would be Highway 59 if it was. So, yeah, it's right there on the freeway, isn't it? No? Is that the Spur place? What's it called?
I don't know. I'm not sure. That's
No.
yeah, maybe it's out that way somewhere.
Yeah. We'll find it. We'll find it.
It's
Linda says that
back a
Rob,
little
now that'd be Junior, loves his Hey Dudes.
I do
now,
too.
But he used to be a Crocs fan.
Oh.
Different genre, right? Hey Dudes are rubber, and if you're not careful, my feet slip around when they're wet. So I mean, I just never wore them.
I've got
I
a
knew
nice
it would
pair
happen.
of leather ones that
I like the Hey Dudes.
look a little nicer. See if I got Pat's number.
We could always just call him.
I don't. Did.
We'll find him.
We'll get him. We'll get him
We'll
on next
find out
week.
between now and then.
I'm ready for some in-studio music this week.
We'll drag him in.
Awesome. Like to go country dancing.
What else you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 windows open up there. Is there anything up there exciting? It's
Yeah.
a Tuesday, folks. And like I said, it's uncanny how that Tuesdays are notoriously slow news days.
They really are.
The media lets things happen on Friday so that you don't think about them over the weekend. All the big announcements happen on Friday. There's never any huge news on a Monday morning. It just doesn't happen.
FEMA is going to scrap their hurricane plan, and they'll go with last year's plan. It's not good news for North Carolina folks, but how do they not have this figured out? And this isn't a Trump administration issue. This isn't a Biden administration issue. The inefficiencies of FEMA started and were exposed during Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. And FEMA hasn't been able to figure it out since.
Yeah. This is something that should be returned to the states. I'm not saying that the federal government still shouldn't declare emergencies and forward funds, but they should give it to like TDEM, the Texas Department of Emergency Management. This is an interesting quick paragraph. Senator John Fetterman.
It's in the Wall Street Journal, by the way.
He dismissed questions about his job performance and mental health as an ideologically motivated smear campaign. The Pennsylvania Democrat, who has missed 30 votes this year, the third most of any senator, has been under pressure to prove his senatorial mettle lately after a series of damaging stories have called his ability to serve his constituents into question. You know who did those stories? The left. And the reason is because Fetterman had made some sense and not sided with Republicans, but not sided with the regime.
Yeah, that's the problem. They didn't give a crap about Joe Biden having no mental acuity at all for 4 years.
Yeah.
Because it was furthering an agenda. They loved the fact that Fetterman was running as a senator and was elected knowing he had just had a stroke.
Oh, yeah, they thought that was great.
And he won, and they loved it. And now that his stroke seems to be, side effects seem to be diminishing, and he's thinking clearly, and he's voting his conscience and probably what his constituents want, the Dems are furious and trying to find a way to remove him.
Now, I saw yesterday where a Democrat from Kentucky changed her affiliation.
I saw that, yeah.
Patrick Strauss hits the nail on the head. As pertains to our immigration policy, our immigration policy is fine. Biden just didn't enforce it. Border encounters are down like, honest to goodness, 90+%. All it took was a new president.
Yeah, Kentucky State Senator Robin Webb, who was a longtime Democrat, has switched parties. That leaves no rural Democrats in the Kentucky Senate. and an expanding supermajority by the Republicans in that state.
And that's their
interesting.
state legislature, but there you have it. Folks have had it. Folks are tired of it.
We have had it.
Well, we love you guys. Hope you have a great day. It's Tuesday. Be sure and tune in tomorrow. We'll have even more. But love you guys and hope you all have a great day.
Bye, folks.
Bye, folks.
My near every bar around.